Good, that works. You're in Q3, as in F1 is in Q3. I know, well, I kind of know. Last time I checked, it was Q1. Always time to switch up the stream. I kind of can't at the moment because Van Aert's about to go quickest. This is basically cycling's equivalent of qualifying. And if I miss the person that is going to take pole, then or pole in this case, the win, then I'll be in trouble. So anyway, you join me as David Gaudu goes off the ramp. So 3 riders now left to start. Van Aert is absolutely flying. He's absolutely going to take Filippo Ganna's time at the top. That's been stood there for quite a long while. Fair enough, indeed. This is probably the equivalent of Verstappen. He's pretty dominant all over. Andreas Leknesund looks to be slipping out of the top 10 on the stage. Currently sitting in 11th, but that should go down. He's 2 minutes behind Ganna at the finish line. Plus 13 seconds. He slots into 11th. Actually, it was 2 minutes 14 down on Ganna. So, decent time from Leknesund. Norwegian GC hope, perhaps, for DSM. Van Aert going through the first time check 4 seconds clear of Ganna. Then the second 24 and the third 34. So it keeps gaining time throughout this time trial. As Geraint Thomas mounts his bike for not necessarily an important time trial by his standards. He's got nothing to lose or gain in terms of GC, barring an absolute catastrophic day involving either a crash or a puncture or many punctures, actually. And he's about to set off. Former British time trial champion then, Geraint Thomas. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you want to sync up, he's off. As Pidcock sets 27:43, I assume that's at time check 2. Van Aert with 5 kilometers left of his effort. And he, as it stands, is hovering just under 30 seconds ahead of Filippo Ganna's time. And with that steep climb to the line to go, that should be Van Aert's territory to gain even more time on Filippo Ganna. So pretty much all of the GC guys are on the road now, apart from Pogacar and Vingegaard. The 2 main ones, you could argue, but they've got nothing to really play for today. Neilson Paulus is EF's best hope at the general classification. He starts today in 13th overall. More than 3/4 of an hour down on Jonas Vingegaard after 20 stages. The time gaps in this tour have been quite ludicrous to look at. It's the furthest podium gap since 2014, and we've still got the time trial to go. Albeit Geraint Thomas is a very good time trialist, especially when compared with Vingegaard. On the other hand, Louis Meintjes already dropping 40 seconds on Filippo Ganna. He does not look comfortable on his time trial bike. (13 minutes 9 seconds for Alexei Lutsenko at time check 1. As Pogacar adjusts his earpiece and is about to get the all clear to start his time trial. And off he goes, down the ramp. It's been a tour of mixed emotions for Pogacar. He's got a lot of stage wins, pocketed a lot of the big summit finishes, but on the most important ones, he's been outclassed by Jonas Vingegaard. But he's worked absolute wonders 2 years ago in the time trial against the Jumbo-Visma rider, but there's no chance that he'll do it today. The gap is far too big. Luis Leon Sanchez crossed the finish line with the 20th best time to cap off what's been a very good tour for him, actually. He started today in 15th position, so if he can keep that top 15 for Bahrain victorious overall, then that's a good job well done. As Bardet goes 21st fastest. I was going to say in Sector 1, but at the first time check. This descent is very tricky, especially if you're on a time trial bike, but Van Aert seems to be getting his corners bang on. He has really pushed it today after setting up Christophe Laporte for the stage win yesterday. And he's set to attack the final climb, and it won't be long before we have all of our riders setting off, because Jonas Vingegaard is on the podium for the start of this time trial. 39 minutes and 19 at the third time check for Movistar's Matteo Jorgensen, I suppose. As Vingegaard is off, how hard will he attack this time trial? He just has to stay on his bike pretty much to beat Tadej Pogacar. But will he want the stage win as well? Because he is a very, very good time trialist on his day. Has proved it in last year's tour and in this year's tour on the first stage. Thomas setting off without his gilet, which is immediately improvement on stage 1. As Bauke Mollema comes onto my screen, this man threatened. As Pinot sets the 31st quickest time. He will be shortly followed by Mollema, who's got 350 metres left of his effort. And he is behind Filippo Ganna. But how is he going to slot in to this top 5? I think he could be on for second if he pushes it to the line. He's got 43 seconds. Is the time you're looking for Cataneo, and he should be able to do that. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. He makes it by 3 seconds ahead of Matteo Cataneo and slots into second place for this time trial. He set the timing screens alight in the first time check and had people wondering whether he could even beat Ganna, but he fades towards the end. Similar performance to stage 1, I think. Going out very early and setting a hefty time at the first checkpoint before slowing up towards the line. But still, a very solid time trial from Mollema, the Dutch champion. Meanwhile, Van Aert in the green jersey is hammering his way up this climb. He's got just under a kilometre left of his effort. Heading into his 47th minute of effort. The Tour predicts that 49 minutes was the banker time. That's already been broken by Filippo Ganna, who's done 48 minutes and 41 seconds at the line. Leclerc pole, Max P2 in the Formula 1. That's actually quite interesting. I didn't think Ferrari would be punching that far above their weight. Well, what was the top 5? Out of interest. As Van Aert goes under the tunnel and should go into prime position to take the time trial. as McNulty sets a time of 40 minutes 56 through the third time check. Ferrari are good this season, yeah, but I didn't think they'd be... I thought this would be a Red Bull kind of track, but hey. Just a bit incompetent. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Van Aert's got loads of time in the bank here. He's still got a minute to get to the line, and well, he's going to make it look pretty simple to beat Filippo Ganna. Grits his teeth, gets back into the time trial position, and rounds the final couple of corners. 250 metres left, 200 metres left now of his efforts. Gets out of the saddle to drive it to the line and ensure that he is as far ahead of Filippo Ganna as possible. And crosses the line 41 seconds ahead of Filippo Ganna, breaking the 48-minute time. Leclerc, Max Checo, Lewis, Lando. Okay, good time from Lando, I guess. And Lewis out-qualifying Russell's interesting. I think he's kicked on, hasn't he? He's, well, improved. Closed the gap to Russell recently. Nick Schultz, been a good tour for him as well. Just about didn't manage to get the stage win on Tignes, denied by Magnus Cort Nielsen of EF. He's going to cross the line 2 minutes and 39 seconds behind Wout Van Aert, which is respectable. 13th best time. And a good first announcement onto the scene for bike exchange. Van Aert then 42 seconds ahead of Ganna, 122 ahead of Bauke Mollema in third. As it stands. Yeah, I'm happy with Lando in the top 5. But it will soon start getting to the time where the GC guys are going to be setting their finishing times. Sainz didn't put in a time since he had a penalty, so he gave Leclerc. Clever. Yeah, because he had that, was it 10th place penalty? So yeah, for clever play from Ferrari. And hey, if Leclerc can convert, would that be him back in the championship hunt if he wins the race? So yeah, let's have a look at what GC battles are still to be decided after 20 days. These riders cannot be separated. First, we'll have a look at the battle for 9th. It's between 2 riders, both of them nestled in the top 10. I don't think it will be too heavily contested, this battle. If he wins, yes, it would. Yeah, we need a 2-team battle for the title. Because I don't want Verstappen running away with it. Not because I don't like Verstappen as such. Just because I want some excitement. You go watch Spurs Rangers second half, watching a football friendly ahead of this. SMH. Anyway, we're going to have a look at the battle for 9th. To be contested between Alexei Lutsenko of Astana, Kazakhstan. He is in prime position at the moment in that 9th spot. But he's only got 8 seconds on Adam Yates. Both are fairly similar time trialists. So it will be a battle of who's better on the day. Yates has struggled recently with illness. Kulisevsky second half hat-trick. See you, Scaps. So Yates is 8 seconds behind Lutsenko. Can the Brit pull it back in this time trial? We will see. Astana have put all of their resources into Lutsenko being in 9th, so it's down to the individual now for him to convert. Ryabushenko did a big job for him on Autakam to get him in the break and protect him while he was in the break, so he's got the whole team relying on him because this is their last opportunity at influencing their future, especially with no sprinter for the time in Paris or the stage in Paris. and no time trialist to really challenge the likes of Van Aert and Filippo Ganna. Don't rule out a Dombrowski attack in Paris, though. That's all I'm going to say. And so that's the battle for ninth. 8 seconds splitting the two riders. But arguably, and I think, the better battle is a 3-way battle for 5th. Geraint Thomas sets the second best time at the first intermediate. 12 minutes and 10 seconds. Remember that the likes of Bauke Mollema and Fred Wright went fast through that first check and tailed off towards the end, so that could be really dangerous for Wout Van Aert because Thomas is a serious time trialist. But here is the battle for 5th. Nairo Quintana is currently in the driving seat, but he, again, only has 8 seconds on his nearest rival, which is Louis Meintjes of Intermarché. Not a very big rider, both Quintana and Meintjes. 26.55 for Yates at the second time check. It'll be interesting to see what Lutsenko does and see if Lutsenko can gain 8 seconds on him. So if 26.55 at the second check would mean that Lutsenko would have to do 25.47. Vlasov is in 7th in this battle for position. We'll return to that, but I've got coverage back, so I'm going to watch. So after Wout Van Aert's destruction of this time trial, it's on to the battle between the GC guys. Romain Bardet is 36 seconds down at the first time check. He shouldn't be challenging Van Aert. It'll be the final 3 that do. Vlasov's got an effort stored in him, but it shouldn't be anything to challenge the Belgian in the top of the leaderboard. As Pogacar goes 1 second quicker than Wout Van Aert through the first time check, so we have a new leader at the first time check. 12.08 is the time from Pogacar at that first time check. Thomas did 12.10 and is in 3rd now, 2 seconds behind Pogacar, obviously. But an early statement from the UAE rider. Very good time trialist, especially later in these tours. As Lutsenko does, I think 26.48? I heard Lutsenko. I'm not too sure, but I'll get back on that. Vingegaard, though, is absolutely flying if the times are to be believed. He's got 7 seconds advantage on Wout Van Aert at the moment. That would be 6 to 5 seconds advantage on Tadej Pogacar. So Vingegaard could just open up this gap now. We'll have to see at the time check. Pogacar set 12.08 at the time check as they flick away from Vingegaard at the best time or the worst time. Gaudu's 42 seconds down at the first time check, so he's actually behind Bardet, who is not a dominating time trialist by any means. We flick back to Vingegaard. Has he gone through the first time check? I think he has. Indeed so. And he sets the fastest time 7 seconds ahead of Tadej Pogacar. 12 minutes and 1, I think that was, at the first time check. Or was it 11 minutes and 1? Either way, it's 7 seconds quicker than Pogacar. And this is another statement by Jonas Vingegaard. We thought Pogacar was putting his foot down early on, but Jonas Vingegaard has responded and said, well, you're not going to beat me in time trials as well if he can hold this effort to the end. Massive time from the Jumbo-Visma rider who has changed his helmet from the one that Roglic wore on that fateful day in 2020. Up La Planche de Belleville. It's another hill finish on today's route. The Pogacar, if times are to be believed on France TV's ticker, is 4 seconds behind Van Aert at this current point. So he's really dropped off. He was 1 second ahead at the first intermediate time check. And with 27.5 kilometers to go, he's now dropped 4 seconds behind Wout Van Aert. So dropped 5 seconds since the first check. Pinot's going to cross the line, the French hero, and this is a handing over of the baton, really, at FDJ. That's actually the third time check, and he's 3 minutes and 10 behind in 38th position. Pinot, again, not a brilliant time trialist, and the hillier portions come towards the end, so he'll gain some places by the time it gets to the hilly sections. I think there's too much information going through Radio Tour, man, and I'm trying to translate it and translate it and then say it in English. Romain Bardet did 26:17, if I remember rightly. That was, I assume, through the second check. Should be through the second check. Vlasov did it slightly quicker, I think, as Paulus sets the 15th quickest time at checkpoint 3, 38:38 was his time. So what can Pogacar pull out in this second quarter of this time trial? Already, apparently, through time check 1, Vlasov is up to 5th provisionally. So, how it goes with Jonas? Jonas is quickest at the moment. Jonas was quickest through the first time check. He's got 7 seconds on Pogacar, who was the previous fastest through that first time check. Van Aert is 8 seconds behind Jonas at time check 1. So, Jonas is setting the time in Streets of Light. Yeah, massive performance from Vingegaard, and this might just prove that Pogacar may have to take more time on Vingegaard next year before the time trial. Could this be a statement of intent from Vingegaard? Appreciate the follow, Elliot. I hope you're very happy. Well, you clearly are if you're in chat streaming Let's Go. So, yeah, I appreciate your following. I'll be live again tomorrow for the Champs-Élysées sprint. But that'll probably be me for another year. So, you've joined with 2 days left. And it could be a historic winner. Pogacar cannot do the three-peat. Vingegaard has an unassailable advantage now. The only way he is going to drop out of first position is many crashes and many punctures, which aren't going to happen. Or at least I hope don't happen. If you're worried about any other Danes, Mikkel Biel was in the top 10. I'll just check if he's still there now. He's just about in 10th, but given that the GC riders are coming through at a high pace, Geraint Thomas looks quick, Pogacar looks quicker than Thomas, and Vingegaard looks quicker than both of them. It looks like he's going to drop down and out of the top 10. You've been following the tour all the time. You're not able to watch it live. Oh, unfortunate. Well, I hope I'm offering a decent service. So Vlasov actually being quickest through time check 1 out of the trio that are involved in his GC battle that I'm going to bring up on screen now. That means he's already gained 35 seconds on Nairo Quintana through the first time check. So Quintana is absolutely shedding time. Meintjes is also shedding time, given that Vlasov has gained 27 seconds on the South African or more as well, going through that first time check. So could be a long day in the saddle for both Quintana and Meintjes as it stands. And Vlasov could be shooting himself up to 5th on GC. Which would mean the top 5 would stand at Vlasov 5th, Gaudu 4th, Thomas 3rd, Pogacar 2nd, and Vingegaard winning the Tour. Where do you see Vingegaard going from here then, Elliot, if you're still here? Do you see him contesting the Vuelta? As Meintjes and Quintana have gone through that second checkpoint. Meintjes is shipping time on Quintana, so he's totally out of the running in this 5th place battle. Quintana's gaining seemingly up to 30 seconds. Currently with 23 kilometers to go, the graphics just flashed up. Vingegaard is 5 seconds ahead of Wout Van Aert's time. Pogacar seemingly has dropped off of Van Aert's time heading towards the second time check. So Vingegaard is gaining more time on Pogacar, seemingly. He is. Are you buoyant about his chances of winning? Can he do the Tour Vuelta double? Pogacar is also going to the Vuelta this year. It's an absolutely stacked field from what I'm gathering as Gaudu goes through the second time check. It was around 26:20. But Vingegaard is looking smooth, doing 60-61 kilometers an hour through a relatively flat section. If you ask me as a Dane, he's currently the world's best at the moment. Agree. Definitely the world's best GC rider currently, although I'd be interested to see what Roglic can do. A non-crashed Roglic. Are you interested in any other of the Danes, by the way? Because I'm a big Mads Schmidt fanboy. And I was very annoyed that he didn't go. (24 minutes 54 for Geraint Thomas at the second checkpoint. That's the second fastest time at that second checkpoint. It'll be interesting to see what Pogacar can do compared to that. Again, no way that Geraint Thomas is going to be gaining back enough time on Pogacar to overtake him. But will Pogacar be able to keep his lead over Geraint Thomas that he had at the first time check? Van Aert is also something else. Yeah, Van Aert's engine is just insane. The way he keeps on giving massive efforts day after day. So intermediate check 2. Thomas is 6 seconds down on Van Aert. Ganna 25 seconds down on Van Aert. So Thomas is 19 seconds quicker than his teammate Ganna through the second time check. Adam Yates is coming to the line. It'll be interesting to see how his time can compare to Alexei Lutsenko. He's got to gain back 8 seconds. This is the third time check. And it's 40 minutes 27 for him. 3 minutes and 41 seconds behind Van Aert's time at the third check. Jumbo-Visma is built different. Yeah, and they've got big plans for next season as well. They're bringing in, rumoured to be bringing in a lot of riders. Luis Leon Sanchez coming to the line now. Very good race from him. He starts the day in 15th. Can he be able to hold that 15th place? He's 3 minutes down on Wout Van Aert at the finish line. So Luis Leon Sanchez is his nearest challenger, and if he can bring that top 15 home, then it'll be a good ride for him. Not necessarily a brilliant tour for Bahrain Victorious, but he'll be happy with it. As Pogacar has dropped 7 seconds to Geraint Thomas, so he's 7 seconds now behind Geraint Thomas at the second time check. Lutsenko goes through, and the gap between him and Yates has been closed. So Lutsenko actually is ahead, but he's gaining more time on Yates as it stands. Still nowhere near contesting Wout Van Aert's time at the third check. Pogacar's 12 seconds behind Wout Van Aert at time check 2. Let's see what Jonas Vingegaard can achieve. It would be incredibly interesting to see how close Vingegaard can even get to Tadej Pogacar if he continues the form he was going at through the first time check. So yeah, Jumbo-Visma, I was going to make a point. They seem to be expanding their team even further for next season. If they could keep all the riders they have, they're going to be a devilish team. Vingegaard now 19 seconds up on Tadej Pogacar. So Vingegaard almost putting 20 seconds into Tadej Pogacar as he goes through the second intermediate time check. And he is actually putting 20 seconds into Pogacar across the line for intermediate 2. He's 7 seconds ahead of Wout Van Aert at the second check. Bardet going through the third check, 2 minutes and 30 down on Wout Van Aert. He's in 24th place. Yeah, Vingegaard putting in 19 seconds, 1-9, to Tadej Pogacar at the moment. Will he be able to hold that effort? I think he will. And he's pretty much set the exact same time as Wout Van Aert between sectors 1 and 2. Was 7 seconds up on Van Aert after the first time check, and was 7 seconds up on Van Aert after the second time check. So he's holding a pace. As Gordou's team car is told to move out of the way, which means Geraint Thomas will be closing in behind him. So Thomas will be catching his minute man very shortly. Nielsen Paulus just rolling in, albeit rolling in. I say that in loose terms, because he's set a seemingly good time. The EF rider started the day at 13th overall, 45 minutes and 22 down, and he finishes 2 minutes and 44 seconds behind Wout Van Aert. Vlasov is crossing the third intermediate time check, and actually it's not a very good time from him. I sort of expected better. He's quite a good time trialist on his day. 2 minutes and 11 behind Van Aert at time check 3, as Thomas flies past David Gaudu. So Thomas has already overtaken his first minute man, which is David Gaudu. Next up for him will be Alexander Vlasov, if he can catch the Russian. Never mind, not Vlasov, it'll be Quintana, wouldn't it? Opinion on Jonas waiting on Tadej after the crash. It was a lovely gesture. But in the end, it's not meant anything, so I'm kind of glad. But yeah, Tadej not waiting for Jonas, well, not waiting, in quotes, on Jonas is questionable, but then again, Jonas didn't totally fall off the bike, so I'm not sure. It was a nice gesture in itself, which I mean, these two anyway are good for the sport. They seem like nice characters. Vingegaard's actually dropped off slightly in comparison to Wout Van Aert. The time gap is now down to 3 seconds, and that's a live one, by the way. That's not any confirmed time check, so take that with a pinch of salt. But Vingegaard looking pretty dialed in. Again, averaging out that 60 kilometers an hour that he's hitting on the flat sections. Jumbo-Visma, of course, with a very good setup. I assume the likes of Rowan Dennis will have improved that, and they're signing on Wilco Kelderman, I think, for next year. So that's another important time trialist that can help with setups. If Jonas had a crash, I think I do sort of, I don't know. Well, you can't really tell. I think if the yellow jersey goes down anyway, you should wait, or at least you are told to. But Vingegaard waiting for the white jersey was not a mandatory action, but he did it anyway, which, again, very nice gesture. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter. Vingegaard went and put another minute into Tadej Pogacar on that autocam stage, with Van Aert actually providing the killer blow, and it seems as if those two teammates are going to battle it out for stage win today. Where am I from? I am from the United Kingdom, home of Chris Froome and Fred Wright. And Geraint Thomas, actually. So yeah, we've just got... all of our GC guys are just old. Pogacar not on as good of a setup as at UAE. Again, they've not they don't have the R&D and the bike standards that Jumbo have on the Cervelo. And yeah, Jumbo's general time trial setup is second to none, really. Although Ineos have started to pull back on setup terms with the likes of Dan Bigham being involved in their aerodynamics department. Lou Meintjes is coming to the line, and it is a tremendously poor time trial from the South African. He's going to be around 4 minutes and 30 seconds behind Van Aert at the third time check. So he's dropping more than 2 minutes to Alexander Vlasov at the moment. He's going to cross the third time check, 4 minutes and 32 seconds behind Wout Van Aert. That is 77th place on the road at the moment. Vingegaard has a motorbike of some sort in sight. Hi there, so you have a very understandable accent. It can be hard to understand sometimes when it's not your primary. Oh, thanks. I mean, it may help that I just live right in the middle of the UK. So I don't have a terribly unintelligible accent. Denmark are very good at the moment. Yeah, you've got loads of promising riders, really. I mean, even the likes of Vert Schmidt goes heavily underrated. But yeah, off the top of my head, Vingegaard, Mads Pedersen, Magnus Kort, they're all the stage winners, actually, the Danish stage winners on the tour. Geraint Thomas is actually 5 seconds behind Wout Van Aert. So he's really putting in a good effort here. And he's going to come to the third time check, where we'll get a certifiable time on what Geraint Thomas is doing, as he crosses into the red now. So he will be behind Van Aert, but it is only 3 seconds. So Thomas 36.49 compared to Van Aert's 36.36 at intermediate check 3. And David Gaudu is going to come in at a time of 39 minutes and 13 seconds. 2 minutes and 26 behind Wout Van Aert. Actually, sorry, Wout Van Aert was 36.46, my bad. Not 36.36. Vingegaard still holding that 2-second lead on Van Aert since we last checked the live standings. Again, don't trust the live standings until they've crossed an intermediate timeline. Gaudu seems to be going at Alexander Vlasov pace right now, as Quintana has lost more time on Vlasov at time check 3. So Vlasov looks destined for 5th. And Quintana looks like he's going to have to settle with 6th place because Meintjes is shipping lots of time today. Luckily, I think he's got a big enough advantage on the riders behind him. So he shouldn't be challenged too heavily. Romain Bardet at 16 minutes and 11 with Meintjes at 13:43 before the start of the day. So yeah, Meintjes has more than 2 minutes on Romain Bardet before today. That he should be fine and slotting into 7th. But Bardet could pull in an effort that sends him above Louis Meintjes in GC. Pogacar's going to cross the line and is shipping time to Geraint Thomas at the moment. It is, dare I say, an underperformance from Pogacar compared to his GC rivals. 20 seconds behind Van Aert. So that's 17 seconds behind Geraint Thomas. And let's see what Vingegaard does. He should be crossing the line in about 30 seconds' time. Pogacar did 37 minutes and 6 seconds. As Yates is going to cross the line, the actual finish line. 5 minutes and 24 seconds down on Wout Van Aert. Lutsenko was right in his wheel though, so Lutsenko is going to be holding on to 9th place overall. Fairly comfortably. Yates needed 8 seconds at the start of the day. Do you stream every race? I'm going to stream every stage of the tour, but I'm probably not gonna stream many other cycling races after this. This usually turns into a Tour de France game channel after the actual tour's over. So yeah, I am going to stream the Champs-Élysées stage. Jonas Vingegaard I have not seen going through the 3rd time check yet, although I am about to, and he's in the green on Wout Van Aert. He is currently ahead, but how far will he be ahead? Will he even be behind? Let's have a look. The countdown is on. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 second ahead of Wout Van Aert at the 3rd time check. So Vingegaard still has a brief advantage, but Van Aert is gaining time on Vingegaard at the moment. So between checkpoint 2 and checkpoint 3, Wout Van Aert has gained 6 seconds on Jonas Vingegaard. But Vingegaard still holds the best time on the road at the moment. He's going to have to match Wout Van Aert's pace between now and the finish to ensure that he wins the stage. But is the lactic acid kicking into the legs now? Romain Bardet is set to cross the line and finish fairly comfortably in 8th place overall. 21st on the day though, 3 minutes and 9 seconds behind the time of Wout Van Aert at the finish line. As there is the ice cream man outside my house at the moment. That's going to be fairly annoying if he flies past. Lutsenko started the day 9th at 20 minutes and 29 seconds. Bardet started the day 8th at 16 minutes and 11. So Bardet is indeed holding 8th position overall. Perhaps could even overtake Meinke's today, because Meinke's is really on some poor form. I think he's starting to feel the efforts of previous days being in the breakaways. Of course, didn't make it to that front group on Autocam stage, as Vlasov will be the next one to cross the line. This will be an important time to watch if you're Arkea Samsic and Nairo Quintana. He's going to be around 3 minutes behind Wout Van Aert, or within 3 minutes at least. Crosses the line 2 minutes and 45 seconds behind Wout Van Aert. So Vlasov sets a time of 50 minutes and 45 seconds. Jonas Vingegaard actually is now slightly behind Wout Van Aert on the live timer. And this is the descent section that Van Aert can gain on. A, because he's a bigger rider and will go down there quicker. But B, Van Aert will be much more likely to take risks on the descent. Vingegaard just wants to stay on his bike, I think, and ensure he makes it down safely and in one piece. That's the first of the 2 descents done. He's on a short climbing section now where he can gain that time back on Wout Van Aert before it goes downhill again and a steep uphill up to Rocamadour. Vingegaard now out of the saddle. Number 18, he'll have the number 1 on his back next year. If he does do the Tour next year, he really should. Settles back into the saddle again. 7% is the gradient on this steep rise. But it's steeper towards the finish. And it goes on for longer. So he'll surely be saving some energy for that finishing slope, as he is about to go under the 5 kilometers to go banner. And actually, he's gained time on Van Aert, if the time gaps are to be believed. He's got 4 seconds now on the Belgian and his teammate. So 4 seconds underneath the 5 kilometers to go banner. Vingegaard just has to hold that gap for the final 5,000 meters. But it is going to be the toughest 5,000 meters he's had to go through, at least today, definitely. Geraint Thomas now onto the final rise to Rocamadour. 1.6 kilometers to go for him. He seemingly is going to put time into Tadej Pogacar. How much time is he going to put in, though? He seems to be focusing on separate segments at the moment. He was 9 seconds down at the first time check, 12 seconds down at the second time check, but pulled it back to be within 5 seconds at the third time check. Pogacar has just shipped time, on the other hand. 7 seconds behind at the first time check, 20 seconds behind at the second time check, and at the third time checkpoint, he was 22 seconds behind Jonas Vingegaard. So he shouldn't really be challenging for stage win unless he has a magical climb up to Rocamadour. A little French village built in the 1950s, or sorry, not in the 1950s, 15th century. As Vingegaard settles into TT position again, he's going to go over and crest the top of this first rise. So that's 1 out of 2 done for Jonas Vingegaard. And again, he's fallen behind Van Aert. I don't know whether they're messing with the time gaps just so they can get some Netflix content. But 6 seconds now behind Van Aert, and the time gap keeps flicking between Vingegaard being ahead and Van Aert being behind. So don't read too much into this. We will only know for sure when the live timing comes up towards the finish line. And onto the descent Vingegaard that goes then. It is a technical descent to the foot of the Rocamadour climb. And there are some steep slopes if you fall off, which nobody has done today, thankfully. But lugging your TT bike around those corners is a hell of a task. Vingegaard with slightly less risky lines than Van Aert down this descent as they split the screen. Van Aert looks smiley on the hot seat at the moment. Vingegaard prepares himself for another corner, gets freewheeling onto the brakes, and makes his way and traverses his way down this descent. No mistakes so far from Jonas. No big ones, at least. A couple of different choices of line. Vingegaard goes slightly wide and almost off. So as soon as I say no mistakes, Vingegaard has a slight error. That could have been so much worse for Jonas Vingegaard. He takes in the corner too wide. He doesn't hit the apex and gets his front wheel onto the grass. And he's lucky there was a little bit of grass there, because if it was in any other area, he would have been into a rock face. So Vingegaard getting away slightly with that error. But that's going to cost him a little bit of time on Wout Van Aert. Geraint Thomas is just reaching the top of this climb. As Meintjes is going across the line, he's going to lose upwards of 5 minutes. It's going to be 5 minutes and 47 seconds behind Wout Van Aert is Louis Meintjes. Quintana's going to shoot above Louis Meintjes. He's going to cross the line at 4 minutes and 6 behind, so he's done what he has to do. Well, actually, he's going to stay ahead of Louis Meintjes, isn't he? Because Meintjes is behind overall. So Quintana's done his job, albeit he's lost to Alexander Vlasov. But that was fairly expected. Vlasov, by far the best time trialer out of the trio. Geraint Thomas sets the second quickest time across the line, 48 minutes and 31 seconds. So he lost a lot of time on that final climb. That says a lot about Wout Van Aert's performance on that final climb. So Vingegaard has a lot to do if he is to take the best time on the day. It seemingly looks as though Van Aert is going to go and be the stage winner at the end of the day. Vingegaard's got 1,200 metres left of his effort, 1.2 kilometres to go. Gaudu came across the line behind Geraint Thomas, which is purely hurting the pride of the Frenchman. He's not going to lose any places on GC. As Vlasov confirms that he's moving up to 5th overall, with Meintjes crossing the line. Pogacar out of the saddle, he's going to go all the way to the line there. Now, how much time has he gained, or lost even, on this rise? As the clock ticks past 0 seconds to Van Aert's time. Pogacar settles back into TT position. He's got 200 metres left.